introduce yourself?
My name is Tara-Jane Stanley. I play for the York Valkyrie.
First of all, how are you feeling now that your return is finally getting closer?
It's pretty surreal, to be fair. I think there was at one point where I didn't think that this would be possible. So the fact that obviously it's soon is, I think it's a bit of a pinch me moment. But yeah, just really excited to get back in the mix, really.
And after such a long time away, is it more excitement or are there still a few nerves mixed in?
I think it's nerves. I think definitely the time that I've been off, we're talking nearly over 18 months. The game's developed, and yeah, the athletes that are performing week in, week out, there's definitely been an improvement in the style of games that teams play. So I think just making sure that I'm up to date is something that I'm a little nervous about, but I have faith that the things I've been doing off the field, they'll definitely help me, and watching the game from the sideline, I think, has definitely improved my knowledge of the game, so I'm hoping I can bring that style and change the whole Tara Stanley's fast and can step to actually Tara Stanley knows the game a lot more, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
What do you remember most about the day the injury happened?
The thing I remember most is that there was a scrum about 20 metres out and I kicked on the first play, and I remember thinking, oh geez, what did you do that for, Tara? But luckily we scored off it. But from that game, that was the one thing where I remember, oh yeah, I'd done my ACL, but I also made a really stupid decision. But no, I think I just remember knowing that it's something that I've not felt before, and I've had a few problems with my knees. I had, I think 8 weeks prior to that, I'd done my PLC on the same knee. So yeah, it's just I remember hobbling over on the crutches to my parents and not really wanting to ever walk over to my mum on the sideline on crutches, but realising that there was no other way I could get there otherwise. So yeah, a lot of it's a blur, but yeah, there's a few things that I remember.
Then at what point did you actually realise how serious the injury was?
That night, Lindsay was obviously ringing me saying, how's it feeling? I was doing everything that the physios told me to do. I woke up in the morning and it was strange because when I first did it, there was like an initial pop and then there wasn't really much pain, it was just not stable. I think that's something that I hadn't felt before. Normally when you injure yourself, you're in pain, and I wasn't really. I'd had 6 weeks off work because obviously I work in a school, and it was my first day back, so went into the inset day with all the teachers. Just remembering that I just couldn't walk on it, and it was just like, it was unknown to me. And then it was actually my birthday on the Wednesday, so I was very lucky in the sense that that day, after being at work, Clint sent me for an MRI straight away, went and done that. And I remember when I first got there, and I don't know if the people that read the MRIs know about it, but I remember they were just like, yeah, just go and sit on there. And then when I was getting off, they were like, oh, let me help you. The demeanour changed, and then I was like, oh, have they seen something on that MRI? But obviously I still to this day don't know. And then it was my birthday on the Wednesday and I was in work, still hobbling around on crutches, no better. Yeah, the person that normally reads the MRIs, they were actually off. So I remember the doctor was just constantly, Richard Lawrence, bless him, he was just constantly trying to get hold of these images just so he can read them himself, and then the consultation would come later because we were leading into the finals. I remember sat in my office at work, and for anyone who doesn't know, Lindsay Anfield works with me, so she was like about 100 metres away in her office, and yeah, the actual wording was, well, I can't really say the wording, but the ACL is gone, basically. I just remember hobbling into the yard, which is in between mine and Lindsay's office, and her just running around the corner, and she was like, mate, and I was just in bits, yeah. And then straight away the ball was rolling on what we can do to obviously make me come back as quick as possible.
And so obviously you underwent 2 surgeries. How tough was having to go back for that second surgery?
Yeah, it was a mixed bag, really. I knew there was, after the first one, and my rehab, I was getting some exercises from Chloe, our physio, who's been with me literally by my side throughout it all. And she was giving me exercises and I was like, I can't do them, like it's not pain, I'm not in pain. Like I just physically can't do them. Like I knew in my head there was, you know your own body, don't you? And I knew there was something wrong. So I was actually seeing Sufi as well, who's the men's physio, and he said to me like, let's just have a conversation with the consultant. So I went back for a second MRI, and it wasn't anything to do with the ACL. The ACL was really, really strong, which I was very fortunate with that. But it was, so I had my meniscus repaired, and I'd burst them sutures in my rehab. The consultant said it's quite popular that happens. And then I had something called the joint capsule needed releasing, which again, I'm no surgeon, so I don't really know about it. But yeah, so it basically meant that I couldn't extend my leg. So for anyone who was watching the first game against Wigan last season, that was about April time. I was running and I felt like I could do it, like my leg felt like I could do it, but I couldn't straighten my leg, so it was just a terrible running technique. Yeah, that a lot of people spoke to me about, but yeah, and then the consultant was like, yeah. The most nerve-wracking thing about that call was when Sophie was like, how long do you think it'll be after the second surgery where she'll be able to get back where she was? And he said, listen, like, I don't mean to be dramatic here, but I'm not really having this conversation from getting an athlete back to performance. It's Tara will not be able to walk if we do not have this second surgery. Walk properly anyway. So that sort of hit home. I always remember that comment, and I was actually sat in Peachy's because I went around hers for tea, and yeah, I was upstairs in a baby boy's bedroom on the mothering chair, as they call it, comfortable as out, and just hearing that, I was like, wow. So yeah, and then the plans were put in place for me to have my second surgery in June last year.
How has it actually been mentally to be rehabbing over such a long period? I
can't really put it into words, to be fair. You can say that it's really difficult, and obviously everybody has their own stories, but everybody seems to, the common theme throughout all ACL or long-term injuries is that it's mentally really draining, and I'm very lucky in the sense that it always hasn't been draining. I've got a very strong family network around me, I've got the team around me, friends, these girls, most importantly. When I say friends, for a rugby player you don't really have many friends outside of rugby, but yeah, I sort of wanted to keep myself in the mix, because mentally, if I didn't, and I think the coaching staff knew that I needed to be in the mix mentally. My life is pretty much rugby league, and my life has been York for such a long time, so I was never gonna, no matter even if I wasn't playing, I was never gonna step away from this team. I know a lot of people sometimes need that, but mine was the total opposite. Like, I needed to be in this environment. I needed to stick to the routine of training, and my routine was just slightly different. But I think the hardest part is when everyone's loud before training, getting the boots on, we do obviously all our prehab exercises together, and then everybody leaves and it's just you in that gym, which it's been tough, like, I'm not gonna lie, like, as I say, but I think it's made me into a lot more of a resilient character. I like to use the term, like, everything happens for a reason, and there's certain things that have happened both in rugby and in my job and my personal life that have developed, and I've took a step back because I've had the time to do that. So yeah, it's been hard. It's been a massive roller coaster, a lot of setbacks, taking each session as it comes, every gym session, every strength session, every rehab session, every week. But yeah, definitely being able to still follow what the girls are doing and feeling that emotion that I feel still being in the rugby environment has been really, really important to me.
When you're out of the game for that time, you can start to feel removed, but last year you took a different role within the team. Can you speak about that at all?
Yeah, so Lindsay knows me more than anyone. When we had that conversation that I was having the second operation and it was clear that I wasn't going to get back in 2025, she basically put to me, like, you're here every single session, even though you're injured, you're always present. Obviously, the kicking game was something that, as a team, when I was removed from the playing team, that we needed to fill that role. We obviously have a lot of competent kickers, but because I'd just done it week in, week out, we were very reliant upon that. So at first it was just, will you put like a WhatsApp chat together with the girls? Like, I was scouring through hours and hours of footage, like, of all the kickers, not just for the kickers, but for obviously the backs as well. Then it started to drip into, will you work with the backs? And then before I know it, I was sat in coaches meeting. There was a lot to learn from that, and when I say, like, everything happens for a reason, like, stepping into that role and being what I felt was like the middle person between the coaching staff and the players, and having that perspective from being in that group of girls for such a long period of time, and then obviously with the coaching staff, it was just really important, like, been invaluable to my development, not just as a player, but realising what I want to do when my time is up on the playing field, seeing what happens day to day through a different lens. I've always appreciated, obviously, the coaching staff and what they do and how much commitment they put in, but being in that the coaches' chats and the meetings definitely I got a different perspective of how much it takes and every fine detail that the coaches look into. So yeah, it was great, to be fair. I couldn't thank Lindsay enough for giving me that opportunity.
And you touched on it earlier, the people that have been around you during this time. How important have they been?
I've got to say, like, the York girls. Like, I've got to say, like, Lindsay, Chloe, James. Just really, I never felt useless, because I always made sure that I put myself in a situation where, or I made sure that I was doing something that was useful, no matter to what capacity, whether really useful or filling the water bottles up and making sure the girls have got the right electrolytes, like just the small things that you can do. Like, we all dig in together, even like Kylie, the team manager, and yourself, like just having those little conversations, and it just being almost not normal for me to be in rehab, but just part of the process, really. Yeah, and there's loads of people that I can mention in our team. Jazz Bell, she's been through an ACL before, so she really helped me. Tamsin, Sinead, I don't want to miss anyone out now, really, but yeah, there's Holly Dodd, obviously at Canberra now. She's been through an ACL not long ago, so she could help me out. But yeah, I think just acknowledging me and making me feel still part of the team, even though I wasn't out there doing what I'd normally be doing. Obviously now this year's come around, Leon and Mitch, like they've gone down an angle which I appreciate, in the sense of they're not rushing me back on. And obviously Clint as well. Clint he's supported me throughout. But yeah, just the girls in general, just from them coming in and just saying, "You all right, T?" Putting their head through into the gym and being like, "You all right, T?" Like, to obviously Leon and Mitch not rushing me back and giving me the time mentally as well as physically to make sure I'm ready for it. Yeah, I sit here now a very, very lucky person. Although I've been through what I've been through, and you might not feel like I'm in a lucky position, but I am a very, very lucky individual and grateful individual for everyone that's been around me.
Throughout this whole experience then, what would be the one thing that you've learned the most about yourself?
Oh, that's a really tough question. I have learned a lot about myself. I think the resilience is a big thing. Like, I've always thought that I'm not a really resilient person. Not in the sense of, like, I see other characters out there who are just the image of being resilient, and, you know, even down to my position on the field as fullback, like you see the forwards digging in and you just come off the back of it and look pretty, and known as Tara, who's got the left foot step and stepped on a right and ended up being out for 18 months. No, but I think putting others before myself has been a massive thing that I've learned. I'm quite, not a controlling character, but I like to be in control of what I can be in control of, and there was a lot less things that I could be in control of during this time when I hurt my knee. But yeah, just being really resilient, talking to other people, knowing that it's all right sometimes to come in and not be all right, but also knowing that, like, at the end of the day, everybody has their problems, and what a problem to you, there's somebody else who has another issue, and just putting that brave face on. But then to people that you know you can, just opening up and sharing the workload, really. Yeah, that's definitely something that I've learned, and knowing that, like, because when we talk about rugby being my life, rugby really was every part of me. There wasn't really a conversation that it wasn't Tara, and then soon after the word rugby followed. And I think just looking after other aspects of my life, which has been good. I'm very fortunate that my job, I was doing like 25,000 steps as a head a year at my school. And I have to thank the ex-principal, Helen O'Brien, who realised that I couldn't do what I needed to do. And I was having this mental battle of wanting to do that, but not being able to do it. And then she was like, "Do you know what, Tara, I think you'd be great at teaching." So very lucky that school supported me in going through my teaching. I'm looking ahead of rugby, and I'm not saying that when my time comes, like, I do really want to look into coaching. But I think just having them other things planned in my life is something that I've never really looked at. And so, yeah, just looking outside the box of rugby league, but then being so fortunate that I can still be in the box of rugby league when it needs to be, and having that support network. Like, rugby league is a very, very supportive community. Yeah, so the main word is just I'm very grateful for the people I've got around me.
Was there ever a moment where you thought, I might never go back out on the field?
There's probably been them moments more than there's been that I'm going to step out on the field. Obviously seeing social media and seeing the comments, when's Tara-Jane Stanley back, knowing that until I'd say 3 months, for only 3 months have I believed that I would be back on this field. It literally has been what you call like a pipe dream, and although people just think it's an ACL injury, there's loads of people that have come back from ACL injuries, like everybody has their own story, and genuinely the way my knee was, having that conversation with the consultant and him saying, Sophie, as much as you're talking about her as a rugby player, like I'm worried that she'll never be able to walk properly again, and having the conversations with ex-players who have said like, you need to look after yourself, like if you want children in the future, if you want to, you're an active person, if you want to just decide that you want to go on a 10k run, or I don't know, do what you want to do, and not having that option, it was terrifying. Like it kept me awake at night, it genuinely did. But yeah, I think honestly for the last 3 months I've felt my knee getting better. Not just the knee, like the knees, like obviously the knee's the problem, but it's everything around it. And yeah, I think more often than not, I've thought during this journey that I'd never play rugby again. As I say, it was like, even to think about it now, I've got a lump in my throat, like, and just grasping at what other opportunities I could have within rugby league. I'm feeling like I was working so hard, but it was just not getting better before that second op, and feeling like I was letting Clint down, I was letting the girls down, I was letting the coaches down, I was letting the fans down, like seeing all those comments and going to the games and still wanting to be in that community, but going, I might never actually take the field again, was like, I felt like a cheat, like I felt like a cheat, but I still had it in the back of my mind, like, you've got to stay positive. I had people around me saying, you've got to stay positive, don't talk like that. And then started doing the rehab after the second op, and them exercises that Chloe was telling me to do that I couldn't do, I could do. And I was like, oh my days, like, and just seeing the progression and seeing my leg, like there's a photo I've got that I went away last summer, and there's a photo and genuinely the leg it just didn't look like a leg, it just looked like a straight line of just mass. Like, and then not having any definition, and then starting to look in the mirror and go, wow T, like you actually have a quadricep. Like there is a calf there, like I can't put into words how good it's felt. And when I'm hitting the markers now that the coaching staff and the S&C and Chloe are putting in front of me, and it just genuinely, like, it feels like I'm watching rugby and I'm watching how we're playing, and it's like it's a new game, it's like a whole new way of looking at the sport. Like I'm just very excited, as you can tell.
Have you ever thought about what that first game back might feel like?
Yeah, so we had a media day, and I have obviously been part of games on the sideline last season, and I'd make an unconscious effort not to look up whilst walking out of the tunnel, because that was always my favourite part, like walking out the tunnel, hearing the crowd, our song blurring, like walking out, and just where I'd stand I could look around and see us girls. Like it's just like every time it happens it's like an unforgettable moment, and for anybody, any female, male, anyone who plays the sport, like they'll know what that feeling's like. And it's like a drug, it is like a drug, it's addictive. There was one time where when we had the media day, I was hitting all these markers and I was doing really well, and I thought it were open but all the lights were off, so I don't know, it felt like just like a step up in that direction. So whilst I was waiting to do an interview, I just walked down the tunnel with my head up, and I was like, it's because I thought I don't want to jump into it and then I'll walk out, and then if we stand there and I'm just in bits because I've been thinking about it so much. And yeah, so that media day I walked down the tunnel for the first time with my head up, and yeah, it just felt like I'll be doing this again. But now I make sure that I either wait until the girls go out. I'm always like to you, and I'm not going out yet, because I don't want to walk out with the girls and turn left. I want to walk out with the girls and go straight ahead, move forward with them. That's what I want to do.
And looking back on everything, what are you most proud of?
Not giving in. Like, there were some very, very dark days, especially not being able to do what was being asked of me. As I say, very competitive, and not wanting to let people down, like wanting to make the people that have invested so much into me, wanting to make them proud, and physically not being able to do it was literally, it was so difficult. And when I had my operation, the first operation, and I couldn't do the things that I was being asked of me, they were dark days, both physically and mentally, but just not giving in and just taking each day as it comes, and not going, the way I'm feeling now is how I'm always going to feel. yeah, so definitely I'm proud of my resilience through it all. And yeah, just not giving in and just getting to this point.
And the comeback is coming, it's coming soon. What do you think it's going to mean? How much is it going to mean? And who's going to be in the stands there? Who's been behind you every step of the way?
My mum. She already... she actually keeps messaging me saying, "Are you not playing this week?" And I'm like, "Mum, no. Like, I'll tell you when I'm playing." Like, she seems to think that I'll forget, but obviously she'll be the first person that I'll be on the phone to. I have to thank Tamsin's parents. They were with me through my dark days. So I do have to thank Julie and Dave. And they'll definitely be in the crowd because we all know they don't miss a game. My nephew Noah, he's just started playing rugby actually, whilst I've been injured. He said he wants to be like Auntie Tara, and they've just given me his first numbered shirt, and you'll never guess what number he got. Number 1. Yeah, and he's team captain. So yeah, you can tell by my face, I'm absolutely buzzing. My brother, although we have the very traditional brother and sister relationship, I just love him to bits, and he's always there. He's always there for me. Yeah, so family, and then, as I say, a lot of the girls that have been through it with me through it with me, they'll be by my side. They'll be playing. So yeah, I'm very lucky, and the comeback is on, and yeah, I take a deep breath there because it's still like, even though like everyone around me saying it's going to happen and you've worked so hard for it and I know it's going to happen, it still just feels like a pinch me moment. But yeah, I can't wait to get back out there. It feels like the stage that I've not been on for a very long time, and I'm just so excited.
And then finally, you've given a few thanks out there, but is there anyone else you just want to send a quick thank you to?
Thank you to the girls. Thank you to Jazz Bell, to Sinead, to Tamsin, that's naming 3 of every single person in that squad. I could name them all. But every single person in that squad has done something down the line that, as I say, as how small or how big it is, they've never made me feel like an outsider through this all. Gotta thank my mum, my stepdad Dave. I can't forget him. He's had a few knee problems of his own, so you know we always go to and fro with our knee stories. Julie and Dave, Nan. For anyone who knows Nan, they know her as Nan. Even you're nodding your head. My brother, Noah, yeah, just Clint, the coaching staff, both past and present, obviously been 2 years. Chloe, for just putting up with me, because if anyone's ever been around me, I'm a nightmare. James, the S&C coach, I've been a nightmare with him. Carly, for just always making me feel like part of the team. Team manager Carly, by the way. No matter what, she's always just made me feel like I'm still there and I'm still present and I want to use the word relevant, which I don't really like, but I've never felt not relevant to this team and the journey that we're going on together. So yeah, and for anyone, Clint, I don't know if I mentioned Clint, yeah, but for anyone who I've not mentioned, I'm mentioning you because I'm not mentioning you not because you've not been important, but just because I've got a memory like a sieve. And yeah, but no, very grateful, very thankful, and I believe I am one of the luckiest people to walk this earth with how much support I've had behind me through a very rocky roller coaster, shall we say. But no, yeah, thank you to everyone on the journey, and I hope to make you proud.